Kiind acknowledges that we are recording this podcast on Whadjuk Noongar Boodja. We pay our respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and to elders past and present. Please note that this podcast episode was recorded at the end of 2025. As such, references to the disability sector, available supports and services may not reflect the current landscape. We kindly ask visitors to approach this story with care and respect, recognising that this is a real and deeply personal lived experience.
Hello everyone and welcome to our first episode of Kiind Stories. Some of you may be loyal listeners to our show Kiind Conversations, where we share information to help parents and carers simplify the caring journey. But now we are excited to be bringing you our new sub-show Kiind Stories. Kiind Stories exists within our original show, Kiind Conversations. It aims to shine a light on the stories that shape our community. By sharing their stories, we are creating a space where people can speak openly about their experiences and remind every listener they are never alone on their journey. I'm Aoife, Programs Manager at Kiind. In today's episode, we are joined by Sew Choo, a Kin Advocacy Ambassador and Kiind member. Teresa, who you know as the host of Kiind Conversations, will be joining us for her final episode. She will be guiding the conversation. Sew Choo will be sharing her story about raising an autistic child in a new culture and how she learned to advocate for her family and others like hers. So let's jump into our first episode of Kiind Stories. Everyone, please welcome Teresa and Sew Choo.
Thank you for joining us, Sew Choo.
Yep, thanks for having me, Teresa.
It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you for being our first guest of Kiind Stories. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born in Malaysia and my family came to Christmas Island when I was 9 to join my dad at the phosphate mine in the early 80s. So I'm number 5 of 6 kids. When I was 15, I migrated to Perth with a few of my siblings while my parents were living on Christmas Island at the time. So life was not easy going to a new school in Australian culture. And literally, I have not said this for more than 30-something years. I was bullied because I looked different and I sounded different. And like literally because I was bullied because I'm Chinese. I just can't believe it. Yeah, and I was too scared to speak up.
Gosh.
Yeah. So I've kept it till now.
Yeah. But how amazing. And, you know, we're very grateful that you are able to share that, because I imagine it's lots of people's journeys out there, that moving to a new country and having everything completely new. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. It's a tough time, and I think not only families experiencing themselves, but also supporting their little person or their young person at school as well, who might be going through some bullying because of who they are. And so are you happy to tell us a little bit more about your family and about your son?
Yes. I've been a stay-at-home mom for many years, raising 3 kids. So my son's 25, daughter's 21, and my youngest is 16. He's the one that's autistic, and he likes singing, having pets, especially guinea pigs and dogs, and indoor climbing. And he's currently doing year 11. And life was not easy parenting again, between the Chinese traditional culture and the Australian culture. Definitely lots of clashing values. And it's not about winning who's right or wrong. It's about picking and choosing what works. And I'm still working on it after so long. Yeah, I'm still learning.
Yeah. So speaking about your youngest, can you tell us a little bit more about his diagnosis journey and what that time was like for you?
To make it short, because I can be here all day. To make it short, my son was diagnosed very late, one day before he turned 13. He remembered that, and I will still remember that day very clearly. He missed the diagnosis when he was 4, twice, by 2 separate pediatricians, and it wasn't a good experience at all. It was not until he was 12 and a half when I went to a local park and I met a mom with an autistic child, coincidentally.
Yeah.
And I was telling her about my son's challenges at home and at school, all the meltdowns, and well, there was a meltdown there. And then straight after that, she goes, you had the first diagnosis, seeking professional opinion from the professional. First time, no. Second time, no. Third time, it's just time and money. So I was very hesitant, but because her son got diagnosed the second time around.
Oh, okay.
So I just go, wow, I didn't want to go there, but, she's a lived experience. So it's time that I trust and believe in a lived experience mom. So I listened to her, and my son got diagnosed 6 months later at 13. And so I just want to say that our life as a family was not like tough again. I know I'll be saying the word, not easy, tough. So around 4 and 5, so in pre-primary school, like he was being misunderstood as shy, and not trying hard enough, and being sensitive and disruptive to class a lot of the times. And at home, around 4 years old, like literally, like he must go to sleep exactly at 7:30. I know it's the fat cat reason, but it has to be not before or after. And he must go to school in the same direction or route. He must sing the same song during every shower. And guess what? That song was. He's 16 now. Like 12 years ago, the popular Let It Go song. So I'm like, not going there.
Yeah.
And he must have his new clothes tag cut off. So that's the easy fix part.
Yeah.
And like his tears must be wiped like completely dry before he could move on. So imagine like if I was out there in the public, no tissue, whatever, not t-shirt or anything, gotta have tissue. And he must be prepared in advance before visitors came, like who, why, etc. Not 1 hour, we're talking half a day.
Yeah.
So no spontaneous visitors. So all these behaviors really inconvenient. I hate to say it did, inconvenient the whole family. So my husband and I were confused, like literally stressed, and we really felt alone. And we didn't know how to share all these experiences with other family. But looking back now, it was his social anxiety, it was his language delay, his rigid routines, the sensory needs. They were not understood or supported by myself, by school. So all these were not picked up. So it was a journey. Hopefully I did well in a nutshell, yeah.
And I think when we're chatting to families and they're having a pathway planning session with one of the navigators, we do bring this up a lot, where families feel pre-diagnosis, bad, that they haven't been able to provide the supports they need. But I think what's been highlighted in your early days of the journey is that you're already his first therapist. You were seeing what supports helped him in the community, what supports he needed as far as sensory, and you were making adaptations to his environment. So, yeah, I think a lot of families don't think that they're, able to help in the beginning, but what they realise is they're doing lots of scaffolding, even pre-diagnosis for the young person.
Yeah.
And so how did it feel when you first got the diagnosis?
3 years ago. When my son was diagnosed, I was like shocked. I was in shock, angry, sad, and relieved all at the same time. And like shocked because like how could I not have known? Because I've got friends with autistic kids, but their traits different. And I didn't know autism is a spectrum and it's hidden. Angry at the first 2 pediatricians. Not anymore, but it took a while. Like they got it wrong. I know people make mistakes, but definitely there's just a gap for improved training there, please. And I was also sad because I knew, oh my God, the journey ahead, it's going to be a long road. He's going to face lots of challenges with the existing environments. At the time, 3 years ago, I don't think it was inclusive at all. I hope it's changing, and I know it's changing. Yep. So I'm very grateful for the Australian government that they are putting strategies in place at the moment. And also the biggest I felt feeling was the relief after more than 10 years. Like I was already suspicious when he was like 2 or 3 or 4. The first 2-3 years, you couldn't tell. But definitely that like, yes, why did that diagnosis did not come earlier? So I just want to put it out there. Don't be scared. A diagnosis is giving me clarity. It removes the confusion. Suddenly we're not lost, but there's help. You can only, I won't say fix, you can only manage or tackle or approach a challenge when you know what it is. And then the next chapter of my son's life and my life is all about helping him. So no more confusion, action time, solution time.
Yeah, amazing. So coming from a different cultural background, what were some of the challenges you faced trying to find the right supports in those days?
For a start, I think 12, 14 years ago, even though I had friends with autistic kids, because I didn't know it was a spectrum and it's an invisible disability. So that was very challenging. So I didn't know much. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. And I had to learn as much as I could. Like, don't go to internet. Like, I just went internet. And also went to attended face-to-face workshops, webinars, and I especially joined, which I found it very useful, has been the autism parents Facebook groups. And yeah, definitely that's a go-to because they've got lived experience and people that have walked before you. So the cultural stigma, I want to mention that's the biggest challenge ever. Before anything, cultural stigma, because in the Chinese culture, and I would say also in the Asian culture, it's like if your child is diagnosed with ASD, it's not taken so positively. So I was very careful when I started sharing the news of the diagnosis, just to the people I could trust. Not even everyone in my extended family, because everyone's got their own views, so you don't need those unnecessary comments. So with that experience, I found, especially the first 6 months, I felt like I needed to connect to people with lived experience, so to understand their challenges, the tribe, but I didn't know where to look for. So a year after my son's diagnosis, I spoke in public for the first time in City of Council. And I, from there, that gave me the motivation to create a mother's disability groups, which we did with the City of Cockburn, and it's called Wonder Mums Connect, where I can tell you, don't walk alone. Wherever it is, don't walk alone. Connect with other parents who get it. That's where I found my understanding and my support. And unfortunately, I have to say, because my husband and I processed the diagnosis differently, I get that. I felt I was alone, even though, because he processed it differently. I needed my tribe, the mums that walk in my shoes, not even my husband.
Yeah. So in talking about community, did your culture or community influence how you thought about disability or getting the help at the start?
Yep, definitely. As I mentioned, it was like cultural stigma. So definitely what it looked like was there was definitely like fear. Suddenly, I'm like from a neurotypical family and suddenly I've crossed borders. I'm joining the tribe, but I don't know where they are, who they are. So I was worried that the people in my culture or any friends that have got stigma thoughts around autism or disability would judge my son less or my family less. It's not good enough. Or maybe it's a family curse, from somewhere up there, they've done something wrong. But I actually spent a bit of time questioning, did I do something wrong when I was pregnant? Was it the nutrition or was it the stress? Because I know 3 months after, what was it? I got pregnant 3 months after my mum died. And then when I was pregnant, my father-in-law passed away. So there was a lot of emotions and grieving, and my husband was grieving. So I was thinking maybe my stress were like up high and grieving and not really present with the pregnancy. So I'm not sure. So I still have those questions. But whatever it is, at the time of the diagnosis, with all these mixed feelings, I just needed compassion. I needed people to, even if don't know, just be there with silence and just provide whatever support that if we dare ask for at the time, not judgment, because we are very good to judge, because autism, as we know, it doesn't seize any boundaries. Anyone, can have autism, be born with it. So we need to be mindful and help each other out.
Absolutely.
And also, because my son was already 13, because of all this stigma and feelings, I felt that sense of urgency to really get help for him, like school accommodations, assessing therapy quickly. And with all these questions, I had to compartmentalize and put those aside because no one's going to answer them in time for me to get help for my son. So I knew there was work cut out for me, lots of work to navigate the same systems again, but in the autism world, just like when I came to Perth when I was 15. So a lot of work.
And so were there moments where you felt like services didn't quite understand where you were coming from, culturally or personally?
I would say with many things I've gone through, navigating and advocating for my family and myself, I would say this time I got lucky with most of my son's therapists, and most of them do have lived experience of autism or disability. So like their services, I wouldn't fault or complain. It's been compassionate, neuroaffirming, and culturally sensitive. So my son is still seeing them, after a few years. In recent years, my advocacy skills have kicked in. I'm not leaving any stones unturned. I'm like the fierce mama bear, not that little girl that was too scared to speak up when she was bullied. Yeah, we may have all these challenges, but I have conquered my fear and be brave. I'm still brave. I'm still brave and scared at the same time because I am dealing with new territories, the unknown future, and a future that a lot of the people that I know may not want to go there, but I'm here now, so I've got to make the best of what I know and try my best. So, yeah, be empowered and try my best as a mum. So I think that mum side of me has come out.
That's awesome. And, I think what's lovely is that you are forging a path for other mums who may be scared about tapping into all of these supports, and so they can see themselves and their family journey in you. And, it's wonderful that you can be there for all kinds of families. And so I think what the listeners might love to hear from you is those supports and services that you did find helpful along the way.
There are lots of services and supports I've found useful over the last 3 years, and the not so helpful ones, but I'll just list out more for the new parents to start this journey, the main ones that are helpful, and they're all free. So I'll just read out. if you are stuck and confused, don't know where to start, like literally, ring Kiind, like no joke. They've got good lived experience staff. They've got great information hub, the pre-diagnosis stuff, the after-diagnosis stuff, all that stuff is there. I'll ring Kiind. And for the if you're for pre-diagnosis support, I would say reach out to Wansley Child Development Service and Play Connect, playgroup for kids under 5. For well-being for yourself, like I did, I joined my time parent support group, even just to get information. There are kids, they've got crash there for younger kids. And I also found Carers WA workshops, well-being workshops helpful. Helping Minds online short courses, very accessible. So for school support, I would say positive partnerships, face-to-face workshops. And if you're ever stuck and felt helpless, which I was once upon a time at school to advocate for your child's IEP, just call DDWA, School Advocate. They're really great. And also, if you're new and you're looking for service providers, just check out Perth Disability Expo. Lots of information, get the pamphlets and suss them out first, like what you call it, face-to-face, so you know the vibe. So I'll go with that. And for financial assistance, what I found is companion card. Apply for companion card. Yeah.
I think it's nice that a lot of organisations are really supporting CALD families, and there's certainly an increase in translated information in the sector. And thank you so much for sharing how Kiind supported you in the beginning. I think, one of the lovely things that we absolutely try and do is be a support so families don't have to do that deep dive into the internet. So thank you for sharing that. And I think the nice thing to remind families, if they would like some support, maybe would like a translator to be present at an appointment that they've got coming up, just be brave and ask. Because there are lots of services out there, like Kiind, that may be able to arrange an interpreter for you, that lots of supports and services have them available.
Yep.
So what helped you go from feeling unsure to becoming someone who now speaks up and supports others as a Kin Advocacy Ambassador?
Because my son slipped through the system for far too long, like more than 10 years, like naturally any parent would want to advocate for their child. And there was a part of me that I lost trust in the systems because no one picked it up. They should have. And like, what would I know, I didn't have, not trained with those kind of information. So because of that, like you can't cry over spilled milk. I became part of many community consultations, like the big ones I can remember, the National Autism Strategy and the National Carer Strategy. Like that's the main one that will, just to impact change, because that will create a lot of, what I call it, positive inclusion for my son and my family. And also my lived experience of my son's late diagnosis led me to become, I would say, a bit like an advocate. But it's called Ambassador for Kin Advocacy, to use my son's story to impact change to the culturally and linguistically diverse families to access early supports. And this ambassador program supports me very well the last 2 years to deliver that message safely and like to community groups, schools, service providers, and more. So I'm like, if anyone wants to use the story to lived experience story to make an impact, like come and join me. We consider being an ambassador because we may be one voice, one ripple in the ocean, but many ripples create waves.
Absolutely. And I think it's nice when we all come together because a lot of times where decisions are being made, there may be no lived experience or a little bit of lived experience. So if we can add our voice to reports and surveys and into groups, I think it's really important.
Yeah.
And so what does being an ambassador mean to you? How has it helped you grow as a parent and as an advocate?
I think, first of all, my growing up has, from a traditional culture, has always been about no voice because of my gender, being a girl, and coming to a new country, navigating, learning a new language, culture. It was not easy for any new migrant. And then at that time, being a teenager without my parents, another layer of navigation. So the ambassador program literally is like a platform for me to to have the permission to go, hey, I'm allowed to use my voice. For the first time in 2 years, 2 years ago, to actually use it coming from the heart, because a lot of these voices are probably never heard. And then I realized, wow, my one voice can empower, can make change. So it validates my experience. And I know why a lot of my not so good experiences is actually, I think, a silver lining for others through my ambassador role. And also, storytelling also helps me process a lot of my feelings and thoughts. And it also, so this is also a good role model to many other parents, especially when you're stuck and feeling alone. And also, it's also a good role model to my kids to stand up and fight. Like, stand up and fight for what's right and meaningful. So I'm not just doing it for my son now. It is a cause. Yep, there's a lot of gaps in the community. We really need to, don't be a bystander, because we've got the support of a good government and community where every individual counts.
Absolutely. And so along those lines, if another parent who speaks a different language or has just moved here was listening right now, what would you want to tell them?
I want to tell them I've been there. The fear, the loneliness, the frustration, when you feel lost and no one gets you. Sometimes not even your close family and friends. So basically, I just want to, part of the reason I'm here to do the podcast is I want to also tell them, like, autism is really, I wouldn't say really, is accepted here compared to where we come from in Asia. And there is free help, really free help available here. And if you're a parent and you hear this and you are confused, just like me years ago, ask the questions, get the help early, be proactive. And like, your child needs you to advocate for them. It is our responsibility. No one else. It's not the government. We've got to make the decision to go, something's challenging here, it's different, but we've got to make that call. No one is going to make that call for us. And I know it can be scary because people might judge. There's worry about stigma. But end of the day, for me, you've got to, I have learned to trust my instinct and really choose the well-being of my son and my family over, what if someone else think of me? Like, I had to make that brave choice. I've just got to ignore all these negative things that's not helpful and really run with it. And like waiting, I did wait. Waiting delays help for your child. Like literally, like you can wait and test it out and observe, but there is a time. The early years are crucial. And also, if you're on that journey, please work with your child. Know your child, work with the teachers, and work with the therapists and service providers, because everyone's out there. I know to tick their boxes, sad to say, but I know it's changing. There's help here. Just advocate, because I am not regretting it, because a lot of good things have come out of it. And I'm here and I can vouch for that. Make that call, reach out to professionals. Besides Kiind, having this ambassador program I'm in, which I'm really grateful for, where I can advocate for my son's rights and my voice as well. They actually help parents and families with lived experience disability from COLD background to access help as well. So they've got a lot of contact points and information. So if you're really stuck, they can also arrange interpreter services. So that's another point that I want to bring attention to people as well.
Yeah, because I think there would be families out there listening that would want to be able to advocate, and maybe they are a bit worried or not sure the first steps. So I think, yeah, accessing kin is a great start for them, definitely.
Yes. So just the key message, just start somewhere and then everyone can link up and work together.
Yes, absolutely. So while we're looking back, but also looking forward, what do you wish more services or professionals knew about families from different cultural backgrounds?
There are a few points, like parents, I think in general, not just from COLD background, we do lack autism knowledge, the awareness of the hidden signs, and that it's a spectrum. And also parents in general, I would say, are very overwhelmed with all the different systems, from Medicare to Centrelink to NDIS and so forth. And especially if you come from a COLD background, that's just another layer, especially the stigma. And then also, I would say in general, parents from COLD background, we tend not to put, I would say in general, tend not to put our ideas and opinions forward because we think we don't know enough, we're not educated. So we actually rely on the professionals, the teachers, the doctors, the pediatricians to know their stuff, diagnose and get it right. So just want to say that we lack that parent advocacy. So we need to improve on ourselves as well and need that empowerment from service providers to go, let's work together, we all come together, we need that lived experience as well and complement with the existing service. And also stigma is also another big barrier to seek and accept a child's diagnosis. And it can also delay assessing therapists and engaging with them because it's like, not sure how it works. And we also, I think what builds trust is helps us engage and seek services, and I would say accurate information, compassion provided by service providers. That's the biggest start. Even though you may not have lived experience, but you're curious to learn and work together.
Yeah, and I think that's nice, for families to, when they're engaging with service providers, absolutely, remember you are your child's expert knowledge holder, and, going into appointments or services, knowing that and being empowered by it. And also, I think share if there's something culturally, so language or kinds of supports that you want for your appointment, speak up and ask for them in advance, because it's helping the service provider learn more about different cultures and how people can be supported, but also it can make families feel more comfortable and support them to be more engaged during those important appointments and be engaged in those appointments. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. Sharing cultural requirements or helping people to feel culturally safe, and then, implementing those things for families. So sometimes it's, be brave and speak up for what you would like to happen as well within the service.
Yes.
So what's the focus for your family at the moment, and what are you finding helpful?
Focus. The last 3 years, life has been hectic for me after the diagnosis. So, therapy, getting support for my son at school and using other services. So I feel like maybe I've neglected my two older kids and my husband, but I know they get it, but there's always, consequences for that. So I want to focus on reconnecting basically with my family and everyone separately because of mental health. And and know that we're now a neurodiverse family and accept where we're at and meet each other where we're at. One thing that I find helpful, which I'm still working on, is to connect with myself as well. So I'm just another child in the family as well. I've been unpacking my feelings and thoughts about my son's late diagnosis. Like, how did he miss? How all this miss autism? No one picked it up. So I'm like, because I haven't really got that time because I'm advocating. So I need to go back and really unpack my journey. And I think with that will help me with a lot of those feelings and unanswered questions. And hopefully, by the end of it, I'm hoping it'll be a book sometime, whenever. But it's my journey, and I thought about it. The title that I really want to give it is "If I Had Known Sooner." Like, if I had known sooner, very, very sooner. Yes. So it's all about the missed signs, my insights, the strategies if I had known, my advocacy for my son, myself, all those things that's still happening, and all the lovely services that I've come across along the way. So this is like an insight for my younger self. I wish I had this book, more than 12 years ago, but I hope to empower new parents, not be scared, and reach out. So I hope my book will do just that. It means a lot to me.
And it sounds amazing. I think definitely keep in touch with us with how the book is going, because I think it'd be wonderful for families. I think they'd be really interested. And also, I think a lovely message for parents out there as well, that at the moment, they might find focusing on themselves really hard time-wise, but really important to, prioritise themselves as well.
Yeah, I find that hard as well the last few years because trying to schedule all the appointments, then the school, then this and that, NDIS and all the forms, very hard. Not easy to navigate, but there are more and more people putting resources out there. So I think good times are coming ahead.
Yeah, yes, I agree. And so we're going to touch a little bit on the tough days. And I know that a lot of listeners to this podcast episode would be having similar tough days. So what keeps you going and what gives you hope at the moment?
Tough days. I feel like I've got more tough days than good days, like literally, but it's all different stage of the journey. I will tell myself that I'm human. We're all human. And everyone's got 24 hours. We've only got a limited capacity. And when things don't go the way that I want, that I've tried my best as a mum, as a wife, and as a person, and I'm not here to compete with anyone. And I try to be as authentic as I can with everything going on and the stigma, but just be gentle with myself, which I'm not. I haven't been, because I have put a priority, because I'm a mum. And we know it. I put my kids or my youngest son first because he's already 13. So that's that urgency. And I feel I do owe it to myself. If I don't look after myself, how can I become and have the capacity and co-regulate with my son before I take him to the therapist? And I'm not doing him any good. So I need to recharge so that my cup is fuller to take on another day or another week. Yeah.
Yeah. definitely something worthwhile to share with families. So unfortunately, we're getting close to the end of the episode. But before we go, we'd like to end every episode of Kiind Stories with a segment called Dear Kiind. So Dear Kiind gives our guests a moment to address a short letter to someone meaningful in their lives. It might be written to their past or future selves, a family member, or even someone listening in the community. Our guests can choose to share who they address the letter to or choose to remain anonymous. Sew Choo, would you like to share a letter with our listeners?
Sure. Dear Kiind, I'll just read it out. I would like to address my letter to all the professionals who do autism assessment now. Your job is very, very important. Parents really need you to get it right. Unfortunately, my son did slip through the system. He missed out on many early supports. Our family went through, I would say, unnecessary stress and confusion for years. So I'm asking, please be thorough with your assessment. Your final decision change lives. They do change lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Sew Choo. And thank you for being with us today and opening up about your journey. I know so many others in our community will see themselves in your story and feel a little less alone. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from Sew Choo and gained some valuable insight into the world of disability and advocacy, especially through the lens of autism, culture and community. All the links and resources mentioned in today's episode are in the show notes, so do be sure to check those out. Make sure you're following us on social media so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more powerful stories coming your way. If you know someone who might benefit from today's conversation, please share this podcast with them. You never know who it might help. Remember, the Kiind team is here for you. If you'd like one-on-one support with anything your family is navigating, you can book a free pathway planning session. Simply click on the link in the show notes. And if you or someone you know would like to share your story on the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please email us at hello@kiind.com.au. Thank you for joining me and Sew Choo for our first episode of Kiind Stories. We can't wait to bring you more real stories from our community next time. Thank you, Sew Choo.
Thanks for having me.
We loved having you. Thank you.
Yes.